We saw some tough questioning today for Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, who was taking questions from investors about privacy and also about politics at the annual shareholders meeting out west. To Fox Business Network, Susan Lee, there in Cupertino. And we're also joined today by David McCabe, covers technology for Axios. And I thought it was interesting, Susan, I'll start with you on this, to see in your reporting from the scene there that, you know, politics and some of the issues we've talked about a lot came up at the meeting in regards to how much diversity in terms of ideology there is on the Apple board of directors. Tell us how it all happened.
Okay, so it was a 100-minute presentation, Q&A with Tim Cook as well. And there were a lot of proposals on the table. That includes approving the board at Apple and also the executive compensation. And then two shareholder proposals. One of them very controversial. It was part of this ideological diversity that a conservative shareholder activism group brought up to the table to Apple. And what they wanted to do was to have all the board members express their political leanings. Well, not surprisingly, overwhelmingly, this was rejected by the vote by shareholders, but it led into a very long discussion. In fact, it probably took up most of that 100 minutes, that presentation. And people were just asking Tim Cook once again, saying, you know, where do you stand in terms of hearing different views in Silicon Valley? And Tim Cook says we are not for a polarized world, and we want to hear diversity.
You know, it's interesting, David, that it came up at Apple's shareholder meeting. I know Al Gore's on the board and all that, and there are reasons that you could talk about it with Apple. But to me, this issue, and we've heard it from conservatives trying to claim, you know, that they're being censored or whatever the case may be. That applies, it seems to me at least, more to companies like a Facebook or especially a Twitter, right? You hear a lot about that.
And that's absolutely right. I mean, the people who have borne the brunt of what I would say almost is, at this point, a concerted pressure campaign from the right against these companies have been the internet companies that are seen as kind of vehicles for speech one way or another. The claim, of course, is that, as you said, people are being censored. But I think this shows that there are broader apprehensions on the right, or at least a feeling that they can prey on broader apprehensions about the people who actually make the products, these tech products that have transformed our lives, that they can attack these companies as being too liberal. And I know one thing that came up in the meeting is a donation that Apple made to the Southern Poverty Law Center, which conservatives have often criticized. This is, of course, a civil rights-focused group. And so, you know, as companies do express their values in certain ways, clearly the right has taken it as an opportunity to attack. But I think the resounding defeat of this proposal suggests that in terms of shareholders, they're looking more at bottom line than they are politics.
Well, that's the interesting thing, Susan, right, is that you said this. It wasn't even close to being approved. It was, what would you say, 98%?
No.
Yeah.
98% rejected this shareholder proposal. But then an interesting question came in the Q&A to Tim Cook, saying a woman stood up and she said, look, I have a friend that works at Apple, and he feels because he has a conservative, he's a conservative, he doesn't feel like he has the right or the acceptance to voice his opinion. What should he do? And Tim Cook says, ask him to come to me, talk to me about this. And he just went on to talk about donations as well. He says, we are not a political company. In fact, we don't have a PAC, and we haven't donated one penny to any political campaign.
That's a final point, David. You think this the issue, though, and you're right, we've heard about it in the past. Do you think this is an issue that the companies will have to deal with more and more in a more proactive fashion than they have?
So I'll be honest, I've been covering politics and technology companies for a long time, and these sort of cycles happen every once in a while. We saw it with Facebook several years ago before we're seeing it again with Facebook now. And these companies have, especially the internet companies, have taken steps to proactively build relationships on the right. And what we've seen is that it doesn't really always diffuse the tensions, that the complaints keep coming. And so I wonder if at some point these companies say, you know what, it's not worth it.
Interesting. David, thanks. Always good to see you. Thanks for coming on. Susan, good reporting today out in California.